Hello children, in this lesson I am going to teach you the rules for using the 7 most commonly used punctuation marks so that you can write English without making mistakes. So let's begin. We are going to start with the most commonly used punctuation mark, that is full stop. This mark is called the period in American English and it is called full stop in British English. The full stop indicates the longest pause in a sentence. It is used at the end of the assertive and imperative sentences. I'll explain. Here are some examples. We had pizza for dinner last night. I wrote in my notebook today. These sentences are called assertive or declarative sentences because they declare something. They state a fact or an opinion, or we can say they give us some information, and at the end of each sentence you see a full stop. Now imperative sentences. Imperative sentences give a command, make a request, or give a suggestion. Let's see some examples. It is very warm inside the room. Open the door. Get out of the car. These sentences end with a full stop or an exclamation mark. Now you must be thinking, why with exclamation mark? Let me explain first about exclamation marks. The exclamation mark is used to convey strong emotion or feeling. Have a look at these two sentences. Both of them mean the same thing. The first sentence, which ends in a full stop, has no special feeling or emotion. It's like saying, I'm really excited about my new job. Doesn't sound like I'm very excited, does it? That's why we use the exclamation mark. I'm really excited about my new job. It tells our reader to read the sentence with emotion. In this sentence, the emotion is excitement. I am really going to miss this place. So this expresses sadness. In the same way, you can show many other feelings including surprise, joy, fear, pain, attention, approval, etc. using the exclamation mark. Both of these sentences are declarative sentences, but you can also use the exclamation mark in an imperative sentence like this one. Somebody answer the phone. Now you can imagine at home all are busy in their work and nobody is picking up the phone, and mother saying that angrily to her family members. So it's a strong and strict command. Another place where we can use the exclamation mark is after interjections. Here are a couple of examples. Ouch, I have hurt my knee. Wow, what a pleasant weather. It is showing amazement. Now, interjections are words like ouch, wow, hurrah, alas, oh, bravo, yahoo, etc., which are used to express feelings. So remember, if you want to convey strong emotion in a sentence, put an exclamation mark at the end of it. If there is no special feeling, just end the sentence with a full stop. Okay, let's turn now to the third punctuation mark symbol, that is question mark. It is used to mark the end of a question. So it's very straightforward. If a sentence is a question, then put a question mark at the end of it. And here are some examples. Where did you keep your keys? What is the woman doing? What is the moral of the story? Who lives in that house? So the rule is, if a sentence is a question, it must end with a question mark. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, pauses. There are 3 marks that fall under this category: the comma, the semicolon, and the colon. These are called pauses because they are used to tell the reader to stop briefly for a moment and then continue reading. Let's start with the comma. This punctuation mark has 4 main uses. The first is to separate items in a list. For example, I bought cabbage, cauliflowers, carrots, and beans. There are 4 items in this list separated by commas. Notice, how when we read the sentence, we naturally pause after each item in the list. Cabbage, cauliflowers, carrots and beans. The job of the commas is to show these pauses. Note here, there is no rule about putting comma before the last word and in the list. It's really your choice. You can include that comma or you can leave it out. It's your wish. Now, if you only have two items, don't use a comma. Like he is wise and generous. But if you have more than two, put a comma after every list item or qualities except the last. So there is no space before comma, but there is always a space after each one. This is the correct formatting. Let's see some more examples. Why don't you go upstairs, take a shower and get ready to leave? In this last sentence, the list items are not just single words. They are verb phrases. So, comma is used to separate words and phrases in a list. The second use of the comma is to separate words that are not part of the sentence. Take this example. Unfortunately, he missed his flight. Here, the main sentence is he missed his flight. The word unfortunately is an extra. It just expresses my opinion about the sentence. This is an adverb. One more sentence. Frankly, I don't care whether he agrees with my decision or not. Here, frankly is the opinion word. So, in both these examples, the comma helps to set the sentence adverb apart from the main sentence. Another form of extra information in forms of addressing him or her, like names. Jatin, can you lend me your pencil? Jatin is a name. The words sir or madam are also forms of address, like ma'am, please have a seat. In the same way, we can use comma in formal letters and emails. In the salutation or greeting, we use dear. We can say dear sir or dear Shirley. Here we can put a comma at the end. Even in the closing of the letter, the most common formal expressions are yours faithfully, yours obediently, and yours truly. After all of these, you must always use comma. The third use of comma is to separate linking words like however, therefore, well, in fact, for example, etc. So these words connect one sentence to another sentence. Here are some examples. They lost one match. However, they can still win the tournament. In fact, I was going to propose the same thing. In these sentences, the linking words however and in fact are at the beginning of the sentence and there is a comma after them. But they can also occur in the middle of the sentence and sometimes the linking words can also occur at the end. Now the fourth and final use of a comma is with clauses. A clause is just like a sentence. It has one subject and one verb. Let's see one example. If my mom is nice, she will take us to the park today. Notice that the second one is a full complete sentence. So this is called an independent clause, but the first one is not complete or it cannot stand alone without other context. If I say, if my mom is nice, you will ask, okay, what does she do? So this is called a dependent clause. She will take us to the park today. So remember, an independent clause is a complete sentence and a dependent clause is not complete. It needs to be connected to an independent clause to be a full sentence. Now there are some more usage of commas, like it is used to separate the date and the year. For example, my birthday is on September 19, 1980. It is also used to separate the words yes or no from the rest of the sentence. For example, would you like to have some tea? No thanks. Or you can say yes please. We also use comma before a direct quotations like he said, I will come and pick you up from your home at 7 p.m. Here after the verb said, we use comma. Please note here we have also used inverted commas or quotation marks here. It is used to mark the beginning and end of the actual words of a speaker. Now another use of comma is to separate question tags. We often use question tags when we expect the listener to agree with our statement. We can add question tags like isn't it, can you, didn't they to a statement to make it into a question. Question tags are more common in speaking than in writing. When the statement is positive, we use a negative question tag and vice versa. Let's see the examples. They are not coming today, are they? Here the sentence is negative, so we have used positive question tag. Second example, this is the right address, isn't it? Here the statement is positive, so we will use negative question tag. One last usage of comma is when we refer to any noun and use some adjectives with it, like Mr. Sardesai, our principal, lives in Bangalore. Usain Bolt, the athlete, is the fastest man on earth. In both the sentences, we put comma after the name and another comma after the adjectives or describing phrase. Alright, the next mark in this category of pauses is the semicolon. This mark indicates a longer pause than a comma. Its first usage is to separate clauses of equal importance. Let's try to understand with an example. The rich are often stingy, the poor are generous. These two sentences are very closely related. So instead of ending a sentence and starting a new one, we can do two things. We can either use the conjunction but, like the rich are often stingy but the poor are generous. In that case, we have two independent clauses. So remember that we need a comma between them, or we can just use a semicolon. So we have combined the two clauses into a single sentence without a conjunction. So semicolon makes the clauses look more connected. In semicolon, also leave a single space after putting this sign. Now the second usage of semicolon is to separate parts of a sentence already separated by a comma. Let's see some examples. Sent, sent. Fair, fair. Sun, sun. Here we have separated a pair of words using semicolon. Okay, now we move on to the last punctuation mark in the category of pauses, and that is the colon. The colon has one purpose: to introduce information after an independent clause. There are two lists introduced by colons. North India has three major rivers: the Ganga, the Brahmaputra and the Indus. Mahatma Gandhi had three chief weapons: Satyagrah, non-violence and non-cooperation. The information that comes after the colon can also be a clause rather than list items. Example, Shakespeare wrote, "A rose by any other name would smell as sweet." Gandhi said, "An eye for an eye would make the world blind." When we use a colon, don't leave a space before it, but do leave a space after it. Now the second last punctuation mark in our lesson, the apostrophe. This is used for two purposes. The first to form contraction and the second to show possession. Now you will ask, what is contraction? Contractions is when we combine two words into a single word, as in these examples. It's not possible. She is waiting at the park. Here we see it's shortened to it is. That is the contraction. And then we have she's, which is she is. It can also be she has in a different situation. There are many contractions in English. The apostrophe is used to indicate that certain letters have been omitted or removed to make the contractions. Remember, you can only contract two words at a time, not more than that. If the sentence is, "They are not coming to the party," you can either make "they aren't coming to the party" or "they are not coming to the party." But you cannot say "they aren't coming to the party." The second use of the apostrophe is to mark possession. Possession refers to ownership or relationship. For example, have you seen Rohan's new bike? It's my daughter's birthday today. In these sentences, we have used apostrophes with the nouns Rohan and my daughter. So that's all in this video of punctuation. If you like this lesson, give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button. Happy learning, and I will see you